Hi everyone, today we're going to be practicing subtraction word problems. Just as a reminder, don't forget to make your paper look like mine, and anything that I write down in the example problems, you write down on your notes page as well. So first, let's just review. There are really two kinds of subtraction problems. The first one involves taking away or losing something. The answer is always going to be smaller than the number that you start with. So for example, if I have 6 M&Ms and I eat 2 of them, that's 6 minus 2, I only have 4 M&Ms left. And 4 is smaller than 6, which is what I started with. Keywords that you'll look for there would be minus, less than, subtract, what's left over, difference. Basically, you have some items, you lose some items, and you want to know how many is left over. The other kind of subtraction problem tends to be a lot harder to recognize, and it tends to get confused for addition a lot more often. Anytime you are comparing two amounts, you want to know how many more one person has than another, or how much less one thing costs than another. You're finding the difference between two things. You're comparing two amounts. That's always subtraction every time. Kids tend to see the word more, how much more, how many more, and think, oh, I need to add. But that's not true. You're comparing amounts. It's subtraction every single time. So for example, 7 is how much more than 5? We're not going to add 7 and 5. I want to know if Jimmy has 7 M&Ms and I only have 5 M&Ms, how many more does he have than I do? He has 2 more than I do. So anytime you have two amounts and you're comparing them, always subtraction every single time. Just a general reminder, always good for word problems. Highlight or circle any important information, especially when you're comparing numbers in tables because you're probably not using all of the numbers. Check that you've entered them into your calculator correctly. So let's take a look at how these come up in your progress monitoring with some guided practice. In our first example, we have a chart here and we have some birthday party type items, balloons, cups, candles, and then how much each one costs. It says Cindy is buying items for a birthday party. How much less money will Cindy spend if she buys a package of balloons instead of a package of candles? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the amount of balloons, the dollar amount for balloons, and the dollar amount for candles. I can totally ignore the cups because the question doesn't ask about that at all. The second thing I'm going to notice is that if this is a how much less question, it means we're comparing these two amounts. How much less is the balloons than the candles? So that means I'm going to be subtracting. So what I'm going to type into my calculator then is $9.10 minus $6.50. Notice I'm starting with a larger number and subtracting the smaller number. Now when I type this into my calculator, I get 2.6. I have to remember that with money, we always go to two places after the zero and I need to add, or after the decimal, so I need to add that imaginary zero to the end. It's going to cost her $2.60 less if she buys the balloons. In the next example, we have a mountain that is 16,555 feet high and another mountain that is 14,300 feet high. They want to know what is the best estimate of the difference in the height of the two mountains. So again, we're comparing the height of the two mountains, and difference is one of our key words that reminds us we should be subtracting. So we're going to plug this into our calculators as a subtraction problem. If we type it in exactly, we're going to get 2,255 as our answer, and we're simply choosing because they're estimating. They're not giving you a choice that's an exact answer. We're going to just choose the one that is closest to that. You could also choose to round your numbers first and then solve, and that's fine as well. In the next example, it says John weighs 57 kilograms and his father weighs 94 kilograms. How much less is John's weight than his father's weight? So again, we're comparing two amounts. That's going to be subtraction every single time. Don't get thrown off because they're using kilograms instead of pounds. We're still comparing two numbers. That's it. So we're going to start with our larger number and do 94 minus 57. And when we do, we're going to get 37 kilograms as our difference. Finally, it says Audra has to solve problems on 3 math assignments. The assignments contain 30, 36, and 37 math problems. Audra has already solved 27 math problems. How many more math problems does she need to solve? So again, we're not going to get fooled by the fact that it says how many more problems. That doesn't make it an addition question. We have a whole bunch of problems she has to solve. Some of them she's done already, and we want to know how many are left over that she still has to complete. So that's subtraction. The first thing we need to do, though, is figure out how many problems there are altogether. So we're going to take our first 3 numbers, which tells us how many problems are on the assignments, and we're going to add those up to get a total. So we're going to do 30 plus 36 plus 37 to get a total number of problems she needs to solve. When I do that, I see that she needs to solve 103 math problems for these assignments. But there are 27 that she's already done. So we're going to take away 27 from the total. And when we do that, we're going to see that she has 76 math problems still to solve. You're going to go ahead and do the You Try It problems, and I did group them so that similar problems to the examples are all together. So if you get stuck on any of these types of problems, go back and watch just that part of the video again. You don't have to rewatch the whole thing. And then at the end there, if you need additional practice, there are some links at the end for extra games and things you can do to practice this skill. Happy practicing!